Hello and welcome to another bikepacking video. In this video I'm going to show you my winter bikepacking setup for my next bikepacking trip I'm doing up to the Highlands of Scotland. So firstly let me run you through the bike. This is a 2016 Charge Cooker 1 which I picked up brand new for less than £400, which is very cheap for a mountain bike like this, but it's been absolutely fantastic. It's got hydraulic disc brakes, 10-speed gears, just a one chainring at the front, but it fits really fat tyres as well, so it's perfect for bikepacking like this, and for less than 400 quid it's a real bargain. One of the drawbacks of this bike is that it doesn't have eyelets for pannier racks, so what I've had to do is fit two Topeak Tetra racks to the bike, which just clamp on, but they're really strong. They do allow you to carry much more stuff than if you were just using bikepacking bags. So starting at the front, I have a Topeak roll-up front loader, which is where I store my tent, pretty much all my sleeping equipment to be honest, so my inflatable mattress, tent like I said, warm clothes, anything that I'm going to be sleeping in all goes in that front bag there. The only thing that doesn't go in there for this trip is the sleeping bag, but we'll come to that in just a second. At the front, this is where I store my electronics. The great thing about this Topeak MTX trunk bag is that it's all in one. So instead of it just being two panniers, you've got one piece which effectively has three pockets in it. The top pocket here is where I store my camera, microphone, all electronics basically, just so that I know exactly where it is and it's easily accessible. I also put my toiletries in there. If I'm just going away for one night, that'll just be a toothbrush and some toothpaste, but if I'm going away for much longer, that's where they all go, so I know exactly where they are. I don't have to root around in my bags to find the important stuff. So in the side bags here, I only tend to put clothes in there, and the reason for that is I don't want too much weight at the front of the bike. I've made the mistake in the past of stuffing everything into the front, and it makes it really difficult to handle the bike, and the last thing that you want when you're out riding down a steep descent is to lose control and not be able to steer. So that's why I only put light stuff in the front, other than the camera that needs to be accessible. The vast majority of the weight goes in the back. So before we get to the back of the bike, it's worth mentioning I have a little top tube bag here, which again is by Topeak. I'm not sponsored by Topeak, but I really like their stuff. I paid for all of this with my own money. In here, I put essential things that I'll need when I'm out riding. I might need to access them while I'm actually on the move. So things like energy food, bars, sweets, anything like that I want. Also I put things like my multi-tool in there and Allen keys, anything I'll need to make repairs, so again I don't have to root through my bags to try and find these things. Oh, I also put my tyre spares in here, so if I'm taking inner tubes they go in there. The pump goes at the front, but the rest of the repair stuff goes in there. Right, so moving to the back. Now we'll start with this bag here. This is the Topeak back loader. And in here, I basically put extra warm clothes because we're going to the Highlands of Scotland where it'll be really cold at this time of year. The last thing I want is to get cold, so I've packed absolutely loads of stuff in there. This will fit my puffer jacket, my fleece, base layers, undergarments, anything that you can think of to keep yourself warm. All of that will stuff down into here. The great thing about it is I won't need it until I stop, and I know that everything's in there, so if I'm really cold I can quickly unclip, take everything out, get changed so that I don't get cold. Right, so moving on to the rear rack. These bags are the only ones that aren't from Topeak. These are Altura Panniers. I actually borrowed these from my dad, but they're really big and they allow you to store lots and lots of stuff. And I've got a bit of a system. As you probably know if you've seen my channel, all of these trips I do, I film, I turn into cinematic adventures. So I always take my camera, but I'll also always take my GoPro, my drone for example. So I need those to be accessible because I will need to stop and take that out and film. So in the right rear pannier, just above the derailleur, that's where I store my drone and other camera mounts and tripods and things. So that when I'm cycling on the left side of the road, like we do here in the UK, I pop it to one side, just lean it up and I can get everything out I need without having to lay the bike down. And also, if I do have to lay the bike down, I can lay it down on the left, which means it won't damage the rear derailleur. So just on top of the rack, I've attached my sleeping bag. Now I mentioned normally it will fit in this front loader bag here, but because I'm using an extra thick down winter sleeping bag, it didn't quite fit. So instead I put it in a dry bag, chucked a few other things in there, like the sleeping bag liner, so it's all safe, I know it's not going to get wet, and I've fastened that to the top of the rack using bungee cords. And lastly, the back left pannier All I really put in there for this time is fuel for cooking and for fires. So in there's absolutely loads of kindling, matches, lighters, gas canisters, stoves, and all the food that I'm taking all fits into that one pannier. And again, it's just a compartmentalised system, so I know which pannier has which stuff in it, so that I'm not rooting around when I need to find things. I know some people will take like water systems with them, but because I'm going to Scotland, I just take 2 bottle cages. I take 2 bottles with me, just because there's water everywhere, so I don't really need to worry about that. But if you're going on a longer, more remote trip, and maybe there's less water around, then you might want to consider something like that. But for me, it's just not necessary. I've had a few questions and comments about where I store my filming stuff. Now, I mentioned all the drone and the tripods, the small ones go in there, but what about the rest of the stuff? Well, this camera that I'm filming on now and the microphone on top goes in that front pouch like I already mentioned, but the big tripod that it's sat on actually sits inside this cable here. So if you tighten this bungee cord, it will wrap around the tripod and leave it hanging off the end, but it won't fall off. And it's really handy because, again, it's really accessible. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please let me know your bikepacking setup in the comments below, and also check out my other videos. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I bring out a new cinematic bikepacking film every single month. Plus, if you're wanting to see this bikepacking setup in action, just click the card at the top right of your screen, or in the description there should be a link to my Highland Winter Scotland bikepacking adventure that I'm going on in a couple of days' time. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and by the way, I know I didn't go into loads of detail about every single product that I use, but if you would like to find out a bit more about the exact products I use, just click the description on this video. Everything I use is linked there, so you can check it out in more detail. Thanks for watching.